Intersect, where church meets culture. My name is Josh Dash. I'm the lead pastor at Northeast Presbyterian Church in Columbia, South Carolina. And I am joined, as always, by my absolutely stunning wife, Betsy.
Hey, wow, thank you.
Hey, got to speak the truth. Got to speak the truth. Bets, you told me today that you had a special topic you wanted to talk about with me. You didn't tell me the title. I can't wait to hear the title of this episode.
Yes.
Give it to me.
This episode is going to be pretty interesting, and we may have to define the terms for some people.
Can't wait.
But this episode is called, Should Josh LooksMax? Should Josh be
Should Josh
LooksMaxxing?
LooksMax? Strike the pose. Vogue.
Okay, so let's get into this. Have you heard the term LooksMaxxing?
Yes, I have.
Okay. LooksMaxxing. Now, obviously, that's not a real word, right? That's the combination of two words.
Maxing out. We all know about maxing out. When
And
you're
looks,
working out,
right.
That's the highest weight you can do.
Right. And
Yep.
looks, obviously, is your
Okay.
appearance. So I don't know how many people listening or watching have heard of the term LooksMaxxing. It's all over the internet and social media. It is defined by Google as a self-improvement trend on the internet where men, and sometimes women, aggressively optimize their physical appearance to achieve what they believe is the ideal look, often with the goal of improving romantic prospects or perceived social success. So that's why the episode is called Should Josh be LooksMaxxing, not Should Josh and Betsy be LooksMaxxing. Because
You're already maxed out.
that was good. But this is also largely a male thing.
It's a male thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So in order to talk about the topic of LooksMaxxing, we want to zoom in on, I guess, someone I would say seems to be the figurehead of LooksMaxxing. Now,
He is.
I want to acknowledge before we go any farther that I am a 43-year-old woman. You know, I'm not really in on the trends necessarily. I don't really know what the kids are saying
You
these
don't have
days.
your finger on the pulse of the online manosphere
Right.
/ LooksMaxxing
No,
community.
no, not really.
But you're pretty close.
Adjacent. Yeah.
LooksMaxxing
So,
adjacent.
so we're going to talk about this, and hopefully we will do this topic justice. I do think it's very important for our young men in particular.
Oh, you got to know. If you're a parent, you have to know about this.
Right, right. So we're going to zoom in onto who seems to be considered the fountainhead of LooksMaxxing, as it were, an influencer by the name of Clavicular, which is a fun thing to say, Clavicular.
Clavicular. Why is that his name?
It relates to the clavicle, which is the collarbone.
Yep.
Yeah. But his real name is Braden Peters. He is 20 years old. So he is a streamer on a platform called Kick. I do think he has a YouTube channel, but he's primarily a streamer. Do you know about streaming?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know what Kick is.
Right?
I know about YouTube.
I know. We're not cool anymore.
Instagram.
So
Twitter.
there are these other platforms for streaming, and they're
Okay.
called IRL, in real life.
I do
streamers.
know that.
Yeah.
IRL.
So, so Clavicular is someone who will post like a 9-hour stream, a 10-hour stream, where you're just kind of following whatever he does in that day, and other people come in and out of it. And so he has gained a lot of notoriety. He was profiled in the New York Times. He was recently featured in an episode of the New York Times podcast, The Daily. He seems to be a provocateur, as it were. He says crazy things. He keeps controversial company like Andrew Tate and Nick Fuentes. And, but for this type of situation, any attention grows your audience, right? Like we're talking about him. Now, I will say this. I Googled this and I couldn't believe it. He earns over $110,000 per month from his streaming platform alone. So that is crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. So he is, again, the head of LooksMaxxing currently. Now, he did not come up with that term, and that's not a new term. That's apparently been around since the 2010s. It originated on incel boards online where men rated their attractiveness and they saw ugliness as a barrier to finding a romantic partner. So that term has been around for a long time.
So this came out of brutal man-to-man evaluation.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really brutal. So Clavicular and others have taken it to the next level with all kinds of extreme methods of getting more handsome, of maximizing your physical potential. You know, taking steroids. He actually talked on the Daily podcast. He listed some of the supplements that he takes every day.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
We both listened to that one.
We did.
It's
yeah.
insane.
And anyone should listen to it. It's because it's in his own voice. He said he takes Accutane, a GLP-1, a beta blocker to offset the cardio strain of all the other drugs, minoxidil, hair loss drug.
That's Rogaine. Yep.
Testosterone. So he's been taking testosterone since he was 14. Said melatonin, which I know, and then melanotan. I'm not sure about that one, but he said that makes you tan without having to go in the sun. So that's interesting.
Okay.
I've never even heard of that.
Nobody's talked to me about that one.
Human growth hormone, some other ones. So anyway, you see that there are some very extreme pharmaceutical interventions. And then there's other things, these physical interventions like bone hammering. Like I'm really not kidding. That like
talk to our audience about bone hammering, Betsy.
Again, I'm not the best person to talk about bone hammering, but this is my understanding. Hopefully it's not too crude. But you literally hammer your bones so they get these micro tears. Yep. And then they come back stronger and more beautiful.
Specifically, the bone hammering, the main thing is people hit their jaws.
Yeah, it seems
because
to be the jawline.
it's all about having a great jawbone. So you take a hammer, you hit yourself in the jaw.
I don't think you're supposed to like smash it.
No, but you do have to hit it hard enough. The theory is that you'll make micro cracks. That when these micro cracks heal, the jawbone will increase in size.
Yeah.
Because it's all about getting a stronger jawbone.
Yeah. It's pretty extreme.
Yeah. I will not reveal to the audience whether I got this jawbone through a hammer or not. You decide.
You do have a great jawline.
Jordan tells me that.
Yeah. Yeah. So the core message of LooksMaxxing and, clavicular in particular seems to be that the thing that matters about you is what you look like. The way to be happy and successful and attract women is to maximize your physical potential. And that does include also, lifting weights and making sure that your physique looks good. So my question for you, Josh, and, for anyone watching is what is the popularity of someone like this, and not even popularity, because a lot of people, I think, wouldn't watch him, but they know who he is. Maybe they, they've heard of him. They've certainly heard about LooksMaxxing. What does that tell us about where our young men are in 2026? I think it reveals some interesting things. Do you have any initial thoughts?
So many. So many. So even if he doesn't have a big following, he clearly has a following.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, there are clearly, he's got believers in what he's saying, which is that your appearance, how you look, is the single most important thing about you.
And you should do what it takes to look better.
That's right.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you're a simp. Or what was the word for like skipping out on something that we heard him say one time? I'm trying to remember, but it's a cop or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he said, you don't take steroids, that's a cop. I think this is insane, and it speaks to young men are really in crisis. There is a massive crisis happening among young men. There's a number of people that are talking about this. We have talked about it on this podcast in the past. There's a guy, I'm trying to remember his name right now, wrote the book of Men and Boys. He's one of the more intellectual types that are talking about this, but so many people are talking about the crisis that is happening with young men. And we had that great conversation with Kelly Kapic.
Yes.
About his book, You're Only Human. Should watch or listen to that episode if you haven't yet, Intersect fans. And what Kelly said at one point in that podcast and what he says in his book is, instead of freeing women from the enslavement of appearance that has led to eating disorders, all of these terrible things, body obsession, all these things that women deal with. Instead of getting to a point as a culture where we advance past that, instead what we've done is now men have the exact same problems as women.
Yeah.
So now it's become both genders. It's not like we've solved eating disorders, anorexia, bulimia, obsession with skinniness. We've talked about how a lot of women now have an obsession with the fit body deal. Now we're just seeing a whole generation of men kind of being sucked into this. Now there's always been bodybuilders, right? So it's not like guys have never cared.
Right.
Guys do care and have always cared. There's always been bodybuilders, that sort of thing. But this is a new form of this, and it's pretty scary and pretty crazy.
Yeah. And because, I'm a 43-year-old mom and I don't want to speak for young men. I actually did speak to some young men.
I love that you did this.
Yeah.
You did your research.
I did. Well, very small and anecdotal, but I did speak to a few young men between the ages of 15 and 18.
Incredible. Teenage guys.
Yeah.
Straight from the horse. Yeah.
Straight from the horse's mouth.
You got it.
Right. Because I wanted to find out from them, why do they think people like Clavicular are popular? Why do they think something like LooksMaxxing is popular and has that, holds a lot of influence for young men? So I had a couple really interesting conversations. And one of the guys that I talked to seemed to draw out that some of these influencers are kind of putting on men a victim mentality. Like, you're a victim of your circumstances. You're a victim of the women who have rejected you, of your society. And if you stick with me and you work on my, you work my system, I will help you not to feel bad about yourself anymore. I will help you to become empowered. And one guy in particular kind of went right to the internet and just said, the internet makes us feel insecure. The internet pushes images of super jacked dudes, his words, with who have all the women, and it makes you feel like you have to look like that to get the girls. And then also he pointed out, which was really interesting, that the internet also isolates people, and then you don't necessarily develop the social skills that you need. You maybe you don't know as well how to make friends or how to find romantic partners. So maybe you assume the problem is that you're ugly or you're not buff enough, but maybe the real problem is you aren't developing the social skills that you need. So you're driven into these online communities where people are angry, and there's a lot of this horrible talking back and forth. So I thought that was a really interesting point. And another great point was, as I said, young men feel like they have to be super jacked or super good looking or make a lot of money young, because these influencers like Clavicular, there he is making all of this money streaming.
Or something?
No, he's 20. Yeah. And so, social media and the internet in general makes you feel bad about yourself. And so then you go back to the internet to find a way to feel better about yourself. And it's this kind of cycle.
It's a doom loop.
It's a doom loop. Yeah. Yeah. So I asked the boys if they feel like their, teenage boys and young men are under pressure from the culture at large. And they definitely agreed. One told me that he feels like teens are trying hard to fit in how they look and how they act, but observed that, quote, this is a quote, people and influencers like Clavicular are horrible examples of what you should be watching because it does nothing but teach you how to harm yourself to make your appeal higher, or will just teach you how to be an absolute loser to other people. So I thought that was really interesting. So it's this, I think, there's this awareness that it's not really good advice, but also this, like, we feel the pressure to look a certain way, so we're appealing to other people. It's just, as you said, it's like this very image-saturated society that we live in, where we're constantly confronted of images of people who look better than us. They look happier because they look better, or they have what we think we should have, or whatever. And so there's just a lot of pressure there, I think. And this looks like a way to improve your life. I think that's being fair to the guys I talk to.
Yeah. And what's interesting is there's probably a lot of guys that even though they would say this is toxic and clavicular is crazy and I don't like this, that they still feel pressure that manifests itself in certain actions. So I'll give an example. I feel like, now I could be off base here, Betsy, but you know, we have 2 teenage sons and we see their friends and everything, and we go to our church youth group and I see guys and everything. And I feel like guys care more about their hair than I've ever seen in my life. Now, when I was growing up, we had gel and hairspray. And I used to throw some gel in there
because you had really curly hair.
I had an awesome fro, and that fro has left me now, never to return. But I feel like guys now maybe I would be curious. Maybe I just wasn't that guy. Maybe this has always happened.
Right.
But, you know, a lot of skincare stuff for guys, a lot of hair products, a lot of stuff that, you know, growing up, yeah, you wanted to look good. You wanted to be attractive to ladies. It's not like I didn't care. I was into clothes. But some of the stuff now, it just feels like it's more stuff that used to be more of a woman's realm. Not like the makeup, but just appearance.
Yeah.
I just feel like I see that more with young men now.
Yeah, which makes sense. Again, going to the fact that so much of our lives are lived on the internet, so much of our lives are driven by images, that it completely makes sense in that way if you think about it. So I guess my question is, where do we go from here? How do we, it's certainly not bad to want to look good, to look your best, to impress other people, or just because it makes you feel good. I'm certainly not here to say we shouldn't be doing that. We want our teenage boys to use good hygiene.
We are pro hygiene.
Yes.
We are I believe in hygiene maxing.
That's right. Yeah. Well, that's good. But also there's some pretty sad stuff. So even as we're recording, Clavicular, he just OD'd, in the last couple days.
On illegal drugs?
Well, he said, it's all over the internet that he has said himself that he takes meth to suppress his appetite.
Okay.
So I don't know if it was meth or I don't know what the drug was, but what he posted, on his social media, he said, just got home. That was brutal. He posted a selfie and he had like a bloody face. I guess he had a life support mask on. But he said all of the substances are just a cope trying to feel neurotypical while being in public. But obviously that isn't a real solution. The worst part of tonight was my face descending from the life support mask. It's just sad that that's where you go, to cope with your life, to cope with how you really feel.
Yeah.
It's sad,
My belief is that the heart of the crisis that men are in, particularly young men, I would say it's multifaceted. There's a number of things going on. One is men feel disenfranchised and they feel like women are leaving them behind. And if you look at rates of who's going to college, stuff like that, there is truth in a lot of this. So there's economic stuff going on. There's tons of identity stuff going on. I believe the heart of it is loneliness. I believe the absolute heart of the crisis of men is loneliness. And the internet is not solving that.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you are one of the people that follows Clavicular on Kick. You're one of his subs. Maybe you subscribe, you get his, private material because you pay him $5 a month or something. That is not satisfying the hunger of the heart for true male friendship and connection. And I believe that's the core root of it. But I think there's all kinds of other stuff going on. Men really are getting left behind. Men are, there's all kinds of data that women generally don't want to marry a man who makes less money than them. So there is major issues going on between the sexes right now. Women prefer to marry somebody that's at least at their level economically, but think about it. If you're a guy and you work in a factory and you meet a lady and she's a nurse, she's going to make more money than you.
Mm-hmm.
You look at nursing, it's dominated by women, right? So there's real stuff going on here between men and women that's creating all of this stuff. But all I know is when men aren't doing well, women aren't going to do well.
That's right.
And vice versa.
That's right. Yep. Yeah, I think it just reflects, as you just said, that we are more isolated. We are in these silos where we can be in the echo chambers, and we have to be people who, get out there and encourage healthy relationships and connections. And we can get out of those dark places of isolation and be fed by community. That's the need for all of us, whether you're LooksMaxxing or not.
I think we have to remember too, as Christians, we believe that first of all, this life isn't all there is.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, our physical appearance and our bodies are not all we are.
That's right.
And, first, and plus we're all getting older.
That's inevitable. Yep.
Clavicular, what's that? I hate to say this, I don't think he's going to live a long time.
Yeah.
But I hope he does. I hope his health can turn around. But where would that guy be when he was 50? I mean, he would just be, doing everything he can to hold on to every shred of youthfulness and what our culture's conception of beauty. So we really have to hammer the gospel and what it means to be secure in Christ with the next generation, because this is pretty toxic, dangerous stuff.
Yeah. And let me just say, as a 43-year-old mom who is not in the dating scene in the slightest, but I will say from my perspective and the perspective of most women I know, I was always drawn to personality. I mean, like,
you're saying this jawline. This was not the main thing,
listen,
Betsy.
I'm not making a statement about your appearance. What I am saying is
This is shocking. This is happening on air right now.
That is not what... See, you are taking this in a way that I am not saying. What I am saying is what drew me to you was the fact that you were funny, you were intelligent, you were kind, you were a good friend. Those are what drew me to you in the beginning. And I think at least women in my experience who are my age, I can't speak to young women, but for me, the best part is a guy who is kind and has good character.
Yeah, and of course, that's what we have to tell our young men.
That's right.
Is that your character is
what you can be the
matters.
most beautiful person in the world, but do you have what it takes to sustain a long-term relationship? That's the question.
Yeah, and our young men, I think we've got to have an awareness of what they're doing on their devices, who they're following.
Yep.
I'm not going to say it's as dangerous as doing drugs, but if you're following a bunch of these guys, whether you're just kind of think it's curious or whatever, be careful of the influence that it has.
Yep.
You may not be hitting your jaw with a hammer, but you might start to feel a lot of pressure to look a certain way.
And what matters is, 1 Samuel 16:7 is one of my favorite Bible verses, and we can close with that. It's, God does not see the same way people see. People look at the outside of a person, but the Lord looks at the heart. And that is really the heart of the matter. So,
amen. Now, are we still wanting the audience to vote on whether Josh should LooksMax?
Hey, if you want to, just do it in the YouTube comments.
In the comments
and I will
below.
Say, too, if there's anyone out there who thinks we've done a disservice to LooksMaxxing,
sure.
Set us straight in the comments.
Maybe somebody would say something like, well, look at all the unhealth of our culture.
Sure.
And I don't know.
Yeah. This is a topic we could talk about a lot more. But hopefully we've done it some service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would just continue to say to all of our parents out there, we really have to be aware of the issues and don't assume that body stuff, this is my last message, don't assume that body stuff is only a female thing.
Right. Yep.
Because it's a male thing too, and we've got to be honest, we've got to address it, we've got to speak to it.
Yep.
All right, everybody, thanks for joining us. We got more to come. We'll see you next time on Intersect.